We have some incredible breaking news for you.
Giant's Causeway on the coast of Northern Ireland is one of the UK's outstanding natural features.
We have some footage that has been taken on a mobile phone.
A tourist flying a drone over Giant's Causeway captured something no one was supposed to see. From the side of a cliff, a massive stone slab, nearly 20 tons, suddenly shifted. It didn't crack. It didn't break. It swung open, like a perfectly hidden door. Behind it, nothing but darkness. Then, just 11 seconds later, the slab sealed itself shut so flawlessly it looked like solid rock again. No gaps, no trace. When archaeologists later scanned the exact location, what they found made no sense. Hidden deep inside the basalt, in rock estimated to be 60 million years old, were 7 human-like figures. Standing upright, each one over 7 feet tall, positioned in formation, all facing the entrance. Like they were waiting, watching, but it gets worse. 4 days later, the team ran the scan again. Same location, same chamber. Only this time, there were 6. One of them was gone. Hit subscribe right now and help us reach 1,000 subscribers. We're just getting started. Because the deeper we dig into these mysteries, the stranger they become. This is what really happened. The footage that started everything traces back to a man named Ciaran Doyle, a 34-year-old electrician from Dublin. One quiet evening last autumn, he took his drone out along the rugged coastline near Giant's Causeway. He wasn't hunting for mysteries. He wasn't chasing legends. All he wanted was a clean sunset shot for his Instagram. The forecast had promised clear skies, calm waters, perfect conditions, and like he'd done dozens of times before, he launched the drone, flew it out over the cliffs, and started recording. Just another normal shoot. Or at least, that's what he thought. What his drone captured that evening would quickly become one of the most analyzed clips on the internet. In the footage, a section of the basalt cliff face begins to move. Not crack, not crumble. Move. A massive slab, about the size of a van, weighing close to 20 tons, slowly swings outward, like a door. Behind it, total darkness. The motion is smooth. Controlled, almost mechanical. It stays open for exactly 11 seconds, then it closes. Perfectly. No gap, no fracture, no visible seam. Within moments, the cliff looks completely untouched, like nothing ever happened. At first, Doyle didn't even plan to upload it. He assumed it was a glitch, maybe a lighting issue. But sitting in his car, replaying the footage over and over, something didn't feel right. The shadows behind the stone shifted. There was space back there. Real space. So he posted it. By the next morning, everything changed. His phone wouldn't stop ringing. Geologists, journalists, researchers, even conspiracy channels, everyone asking the same question. Is this real? One of those calls came from Dr. Sarah Brennan, a senior geologist at Queen's University Belfast. She had spent over 15 years studying the basalt formations along that coast. Viral videos weren't her thing. At first, she almost ignored it, but something made her watch it again and again. By the 3rd time, she knew something was wrong. Either the footage broke everything we understand about geology, or it was the most advanced hoax she had ever seen. So she drove out to the site the very next day. For context, Giant's Causeway is made up of around 40,000 tightly packed basalt columns, formed by volcanic activity roughly 60 million years ago. It's one of the most studied geological sites on Earth. And in all that time, no one had ever found a hollow space inside those cliffs. No tunnels, no chambers, nothing but solid rock. Until now. Dr. Brennan set up her ground-penetrating radar at the exact coordinates from Doyle's footage. Cold wind, grey skies. She calibrated the system, aimed it at the cliff, and began scanning. When the results appeared on her screen, she froze. For nearly 2 full minutes, She didn't move, didn't speak, didn't even blink. Her assistant later said he thought the machine had failed because she just stood there staring. Here's what the scan revealed. A massive hollow chamber hidden deep inside the basalt, about 12 feet deep, 26 feet wide, a sealed space with no visible entrance or exit. That alone should have been impossible. But what was inside that chamber made everything worse. 7 tall figures, standing upright in complete darkness, each one between 7 and 8 feet tall, perfectly aligned, exactly 4.5 feet apart. And every single one of them was facing the stone door. They weren't scattered, they weren't broken, and they definitely weren't random. Those figures stood in formation, aligned, all facing the same direction, toward the exit. Now think about this carefully. Basalt doesn't slowly form around objects like sedimentary rock. It comes from molten lava, liquid fire, reaching temperatures over 2,000 degrees. That means one thing. If those figures are inside the rock, they had to already be there before the lava cooled, which places them at the exact moment Giant's Causeway was formed around 60 million years ago. Let that sink in. Humans wouldn't exist for another 59.7 million years. So, whatever those 7 figures are, they were standing there, long before the first human ever walked the earth. The next morning, a geophysicist named Dr. Ian Gallagher arrived from Belfast. He brought more advanced imaging equipment, tools designed to see deep beneath rock, soil, even ocean floors. This wasn't his first time dealing with underground anomalies. He had mapped river systems beneath continents, conducted deep crust surveys. He wasn't the type to be easily shaken. At least, not until that day. He began the scan like any professional would. Calm, precise, focused. But about 20 minutes in, something changed. His hands started trembling. He had to set his tablet down, step away, and walk in circles just to steady himself. When he finally looked back at the screen, everything got worse, because his high-resolution scan revealed something no one expected. The figures weren't solid. They were hollow, thin outer shells, empty inside, like cocoons, like containers, as if something had once been inside them, or maybe still was. Even more disturbing, the material of those shells couldn't be identified. Nothing organic could survive that kind of heat. Nothing synthetic should either, not under molten lava, not under that pressure, not for millions of years. And yet, there they were, perfectly intact, sealed inside rock that was once liquid fire. Within 48 hours, everything changed. Government agencies were quietly alerted, encrypted emails, closed-door meetings, and suddenly, the site that Dr. Sarah Brennan had studied for years was no longer hers. The cover-up. An official team arrived almost immediately. A public statement followed just as fast. The drone footage was a light illusion. No chamber exists. No anomalies detected. Case closed. At least, that's what they wanted people to believe. But there was one problem. Dr. Brennan herself, the lead consultant, refused to approve the report. She read it, paused, then pushed it back across the table, unsigned. Witnesses say she reviewed the raw scan data one last time, turned pale, closed her laptop, and resigned days later. Her letter was only 4 sentences long. The last one said everything. "I've seen enough." Soon after, the area was sealed off. Steel barriers. Warning signs. The official reason? Coastal erosion, falling rock hazard. Simple, boring, easy to accept, the perfect cover story. But everyone who had seen those scans knew the truth, and what happened next made it even harder to ignore. The second scan. Before being forced to leave, Dr. Brennan returned one last time. 4 days after the original scan. Standard procedure, verify the data. She expected the same result. She hoped for it, because if the second scan matched the first, then everything she saw was real. When the image appeared, she had to grab onto the equipment just to stay standing, because something had changed. There were no longer 7 figures. There were 6. One was gone. And here's what makes it truly terrifying. The stone door had never opened. Not once. From the moment his footage went viral, Kieran Doyle had installed a motion-activated camera aimed directly at the cliff. It recorded non-stop. 24 hours a day, for 4 straight days. The footage showed nothing. No movement, no vibration, no opening. The rock never changed. And yet, something inside it did. And yet, inside that completely sealed chamber, one of the 7 figures was simply gone. No dust, no fragments, no cracks in the rock, no hidden tunnel, no shift in the surrounding stone, nothing. It was as if it had passed straight through solid rock and vanished. The team rechecked everything, every inch of the chamber walls, every angle of the scan. No exits, no fractures, no second passage, nothing that could explain it. And what made it even more disturbing? The remaining 6 didn't react. They didn't move. They didn't scatter. They didn't even adjust their formation. They just stood there, facing the door, as if nothing had happened. As if the 7th leaving was expected. As if it was simply the first. Now here's where things take a darker turn. If you want to know what those figures are made of, what temperature they're giving off from inside sealed rock, and why instruments started detecting something that sounded exactly like a heartbeat, then hit like and subscribe right now. Help us reach 1,000 subscribers, because what comes next is the part that made a scientist walk away and disappear for weeks. They were warm, and they had heartbeats. A thermal imaging expert named Dr. Niamh Callahan from University College Dublin was brought in. Her job was simple: check for natural heat sources. Maybe geothermal activity, maybe underground water. Something normal, something explainable. She had done this dozens of times before, across volcanic regions like Iceland and the Azores. She expected another routine scan. It was a cold March morning, air temperature just under 4 degrees Celsius. The cliff face equally cold. Everything completely normal. Until she pointed her thermal camera at the chamber. The screen exploded into color. Bright orange, deep red. Inside that sealed space, the 6 figures were radiating heat at 37 degrees Celsius. That's not similar to human temperature. That is human body temperature. Think about that. There's no known process in physics, no geological mechanism that allows something to stay that warm inside cold stone for even a few days, let alone millions of years. Heat always fades. It dissipates. That's not a theory. That's a law. But here, it wasn't fading at all. Callahan recalibrated her equipment, changed batteries, adjusted angles, ran the scan again. Same result. She even used a completely different thermal device. Again, 37 degrees Celsius. Stable. Unmistakable. She turned to her team and asked if this was some kind of joke. No one laughed. No one spoke. That's when she knew it wasn't. She packed up her gear, left the site, and vanished from communication for 3 weeks. No calls, no emails, nothing. When she finally responded, it was just one line. I need more time to process what I saw. But that wasn't the most disturbing part. Not even close. The sound inside the stone. The team installed vibration sensors along the cliff face, sensitive enough to detect even the smallest movement underground. What they recorded was a pulse, a steady rhythm, repeating every 4.7 seconds. Consistent, unchanging. One researcher later admitted, very carefully, that the pattern was indistinguishable from a slow heartbeat. And it didn't stop there. The thermal readings began to fluctuate, spiking above 38 degrees Celsius, then dropping back to 37. No connection to weather, no link to tides, no seismic activity, no known cycle matched it. The heat wasn't reacting to the environment, it was acting on its own. And then came the final piece, every 72 hours. The team ran new scans, and each time, the figures had moved. Not dramatically, just a few inches at a time, barely noticeable between scans, but consistent, deliberate, always in the same direction, toward the door. They were no longer in perfect formation. They had begun to cluster, shifting, slowly, closer to the sealed stone entrance, like something waking up after an unimaginable length of time. When the researchers overlaid all the scans into one image, the pattern became clear. A straight path, an unbroken trajectory, all leading to one place, the exit. And when they saw it, no one in the room spoke. Not for a long time. Because now, the question wasn't, what are they? These things have been trapped inside solid volcanic rock since a time before mammals even existed. They've outlasted every species, every empire, every civilization that has ever lived and disappeared above them. For tens of millions of years, they didn't move. They stayed perfectly still, perfectly aligned, waiting. And now, in our lifetime, they're moving toward the door. Meanwhile, more than 1 million tourists visit Giant's Causeway every single year. Families walk across those black stones. They take photos. They listen to stories about legends like Fionn Mac Cumhaill Hail. They laugh. They explore, completely unaware that just meters behind that cliff face, 6 unknown entities are radiating body heat and slowly making their way toward an exit that has already opened once. The attempt to reveal the truth. Even after resigning, Dr. Sarah Brennan didn't let it go. She spent months gathering everything: thermal data, heartbeat patterns, movement tracking, material analysis. She compiled it all into a formal research paper, had it reviewed by trusted colleagues who confirmed her findings were sound, and then she submitted it to Ireland's Geological Review Board. She believed people deserved to know the truth about what might be hidden inside one of their most famous landmarks. The response came fast: rejected, faulty equipment, weak methodology, insufficient evidence, case closed. But that wasn't the real reason. A board member contacted her privately, off the record. Different phone, no trace, and what he told her changed everything. It wasn't about the science, it was about the consequences. If the public found out that something inside ancient basalt was giving off body heat and producing rhythmic pulses like a heartbeat, it would shatter everything. Every timeline rewritten, every textbook questioned, every assumption about when intelligent life began, erased. Silence enforced. By April, all monitoring equipment was quietly removed from the site. The researchers were given a direct warning: stay silent, or your careers are over. No papers, no interviews, no posts, nothing. But the evidence didn't disappear. It couldn't. Sharon Doyle still has the original drone footage, stored across multiple hard drives in different locations. He checks them regularly, just to make sure they're still there. He told a close friend something unsettling, that he doesn't sleep the same anymore, like something changed in him the night he saw that stone move. The researchers did the same. Brennan, Dr. Ian Gallagher, Dr. Niamh Callahan. Each of them kept copies, encrypted files, hidden drives, thermal logs, vibration recordings, scan data, all preserved just in case. The final scan. The last scan, before everything was shut down, showed the same thing. The 6 figures were still there, still warm, still pulsing, still moving. The one closest to the door was only a few feet away, and its heartbeat was stronger than before, faster, louder, as if it could sense how close it was to getting out. But here's the part that keeps every researcher awake at night. It's not about the 6 still inside. It's about the 1 that's already gone. At the beginning, there were 7. Now, there are 6. 1 disappeared. No exit. No damage. No trace. It didn't break through the rock. It didn't open the door. It simply wasn't there anymore. So where is it now? Beneath the Atlantic, moving through unseen cave systems, hidden somewhere along the coastline, buried inside another cliff, waiting, or something even more unsettling, moving through places we've never thought to look. And here's what makes it worse. The 6 that remain didn't react. They didn't panic. They didn't change formation. They just kept moving forward, slowly, patiently, as if the first one leaving us was always part of the plan, as if they're waiting for their turn. We've always believed we were the first intelligent beings on this planet, but these figures suggest something else entirely, something older, something that existed long before us, sealed inside stone, waiting, while entire civilizations rose and fell above it. Dr. Brennan said something quietly, off the record, to someone she still trusts. We treat ancient history like it's dead, something we dig up and display, but what if it isn't dead? What if it's just been asleep, and now it's waking up? Right now, 6 figures stand behind that stone door at Giant's Causeway. Their heat is rising, their heartbeats are getting stronger, they're inches away from the exit, and the 7th, it's already out there, somewhere, in a world that has no idea it exists. So, what do you think? Are those 6 figures still inside, or have more already made it out? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and help us reach 1,000 subscribers. Because if new evidence appears, you'll want to know. This story is far from over.